done a video for a long, long time, but I felt the need to give you an update. And I felt like the best way to do that was through a collaboration. So we have with us today Rogelio Diaz, who is a life coach and spiritual entrepreneur. Hi, Rogelio. How are you?
Hey, Vivi, excited to be here.
Great. Nice having you here. Um, so we're going to talk about finances and financial uncertainty, and we're going to give you very practical advice about how to navigate all these finances during this time. We're going to discuss about our mistakes, what not to do during this time. Yeah. But I think the best way to start is to tell the audience how we met. Do you want to start
We're
and
going back in
tell
time.
people how we met, because I think it's important.
Yeah, I think, and it's so important, right? Because depending on even like which period they're in their own awakening,
Hmm.
but when you find your soul tribe, when you find your soul group, like it changes a lot. And I think that was one of the biggest things, right? Like we were both a part of a program, and we were looking for some people to build with, like in our soul family, and it's just interesting how we all just connected and reached out to each other and just see how we could help each other. And I think that was the biggest thing, right? Like to network,
Yeah.
collab, and yeah, it just took off, right? It naturally just took off as we started to connect, right, buddy?
Yeah. I mean, if you ask me, it was one of the best times of my life because I had, it wasn't just me and you. Actually, there were three more people with us. Two more people. Sorry, not three. Two or three. It depends.
Too. Yeah.
Actually, we met like 6 years ago, 5, 6 years ago. So it's a long time now. And but we were working together. We had like questions, and we we're helping each other. And it was really, really important to have someone to support you when you start your business, or all this journey is so, I don't know, frustrating many at times, difficult. It's good to have like a support group. What do you think?
I mean, especially just how many ideas you can bounce off each other, right? Like
Yeah.
you help so much, and you inspire each other's creativities when you have the right people around you, and it's just everybody has their own talents, which is cool, right, bro? Like we all had
Yeah.
our own ideas, and we helped each other with it, and we, so like you said, supported each other. And in those times where we felt low, where we were like uncertain, can we really do this? We would come in and,
Yeah.
hey, come on, remember who you are, right?
Yeah. 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 But let's start from the beginning. What triggered your spiritual awakening? How everything started? Can you tell us a few things?
I think like many of us, maybe it life hit, and we went through like a dark night of the soul, right? We went through a lot of struggling, painful moments that kind of made us go deeper within ourselves. And
Mm-hmm.
like it, I'm sure many people here can relate. um I remember coming home one night after a party, and
Mm-hmm.
I was starting to kind of I was into like working out and those inspirational videos, but life really sat me down, so to speak, and I had to slip disc from an injury at work. I was cheated on. I lost all my friends. I was an alcoholic. I was
Amazing time.
like, man, it's like, why? What I do to deserve this, right? No,
Yeah.
but it all made sense later on, and I'm sure guys, like when you have like a series of things coming in, and it just one bad thing after the next, after the next, after the next. Um, it's trying to awaken something within you. And I went to sleep one night, guys, and I asked myself while I was under the influence, maybe, is
Mm-hmm.
this going to be the rest of my life? I was 22, right? I'm 32
Mm-hmm.
now, and I don't know why I said no. I
Mm-hmm.
said no, and I made a choice the next day to learn something new, a new valuable piece of information or knowledge, or just something that would better me, because I could not keep living the way I was living. And I think That's the biggest difference. I mean, or that's what happens, right? When again, that's
Mhm.
when you awaken, you make a very new decision, and
Mhm.
you can't tolerate your current reality anymore.
Mhm.
How about you, buddy?
Yeah, it was very similar time for me. I left a job, a 9 to 5 job, in a very bad way. And then it wasn't that I had problems finding a job. I was finding jobs easily, but every time I was getting into a workplace, I was feeling empty inside. It was nothing was, fulfilling. It was like this constant emptiness. And at some point I was like, I can't do that anymore. I don't know what I'm looking for. And I just at some point that just couldn't get to into a workplace with other people. Everything was very intense. And I had a time where I had no work at all. I was just at home doing nothing, staring at the ceiling and just thinking. Horrible time. I decided to start my own business. Actually, I'm a psychologist and I'm specialized in emotional freedom techniques, EFT or tapping, as many people know it. And this is what I've started doing. But it was during my spiritual awakening when I took the decision that I don't want to work in corporate, and I want to start something, my own business. And thank you for the people who are uh, joining us. And if you have any questions, please just write them down, and we will be able to answer everything. Um, so, if I have to ask you, what was the most challenging emotional experience during the time with no steady income?
Yeah, yeah. Oh my gosh. I think those moments, right, when yeah, like you look around and like, all right, I need money to survive, right?
Yeah.
I think those moments are just yeah, when there's no real visible income or certainty in that way, I feel it for me, it really brought up the deep seated limiting beliefs I had about myself.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was a loser, that I was a failure, that I would never amount to nothing, that I was unworthy, I was not enough. Like all these things came
Mm-hmm.
up in those times, right? And it's crazy because it's just again, it's what I've I've the meanings and emotions that I've created from my past experiences, and it could have meant a whole other thing, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
wow, here's a new opportunity to start something new. This could be a new chapter in my life, right?
Mm-hmm.
This could be a time where I find more of myself and I do some inner work. But depending on the level of awareness that you're at, right? It's like, what does that mean to you, right? When there's
Mm-hmm.
no again, there's no steady income. So I think when you can really be aware of what stories are playing out and what beliefs are playing out, like it's not, and especially if they're negative. Like I was like, I was in my mind, I was so sure. Oh, yep. See, I told you, Roy, you're a failure. I told you. Look, look
Mm-hmm.
what's here. But that's what I was looking for. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, yeah. But I think that's the biggest thing. Is like it brought up a lot of beliefs that were conscious and unconscious about myself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was very similar for me, uh, because I couldn't believe that I can sustain a business. I couldn't believe that I'm able to have a successful business, and because the limited beliefs that I had about myself is that I cannot be consistent enough, and I had this pattern of behavior when I was feeling stressed about something. I was getting into a freeze mode when I was doing nothing. Okay, because I didn't know how to deal with it, and but this is what I've learned to come out of freeze and face my fears. Okay, this is, if you ask me what was the biggest achievement during this time, was to learn how to navigate uncertainty. So having successful business, okay, it's not about marketing and about doing the right take the right business decisions. It's about how you feel inside. If you feel good inside, you're going to have a very successful business, because you can find information everywhere. The information is free online about how to set up your business. Now we have AI. This is not an issue, how to set it up. Okay. The biggest problem is how to feel okay about uncertainty, how you face your fears. And when you face fears, what do you do? How do you deal with it? Okay.
Yes.
Uh, you want to add something about it?
Um, I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree
Hmm.
more. I love what you said at the end right there. Right, how you face your fears. What does that mean? Right. Well, what how are you going to go about this in a sense? Are you going to let it, is it going to be the reason why you hide the rest of your life? Or are you actually
Hmm.
going to try to
Hmm.
do something about it? Right. And try, and a word that I'll be mentioning a lot throughout this live is responsibility, right? Because
Hmm.
we both have struggled with that
Yeah.
quite a bit throughout, especially again after the awakening, just different levels and of what that means. But yeah, you said it best, bro.
Yeah, because always for me it was always very very difficult to believe that I can be totally independent, depend on myself, and that was extremely stressful. And we have three responses. Okay, we have the fight response, we have the flight response, and we have the freeze or fawn response. And in my life, the biggest part of my life, I was always in the fight mode. But after the awakening, I went into not flight, freeze. I couldn't do anything because everything was so intense. Everything, all the emotions came up. I just couldn't deal with anything. And to be honest with you, in order to have a successful business, have a business that gives you steady income, you need to feel good inside. Okay. And while you're going through the awakening, all the emotions come up. So you have to fight with so many things. The last thing you want is to decide how much money you're going to put in your advertisement, or I don't know, when you don't, or when you are in survival mode, and you don't have money to buy food. And then you need to think about, I don't know, domains, your website, how to advertise yourself, where to advertise yourself, how to find clients. These are extremely stressful. And I don't know, how was it with you?
Yeah, well, in regard how so we be like when what?
I mean, did you have very similar experiences?
Yeah, yeah. And if anybody wants to share in the comments, go for it as well. We
Okay.
would love to hear if what did you guys go through? Um,
Okay. Okay.
and what? Go ahead, Bree.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna go with the next question. Okay, because I've written the questions here. Okay. So, what kind of healing did you realize you had to do to create a business aligned with your purpose?
Yeah, that I was. I've been sitting with that question for um unknowingly for a while, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, the biggest thing was the fear of failure. I
Mm-hmm.
think for me, and it's you go into it more or less in certain times, but I think that was one of the biggest things that was holding me back because it also gave me the fear of success, right?
Mm, of
Again,
course.
I didn't know. I was so afraid because I was so afraid to fail. I was afraid to succeed. I was afraid to hold that level of responsibility of that capacity. Can I even right? Can I make X amount a month? Can I help X amount of people every month? Like that was one, and ironically, that's one of the most be, taking myself through my own process with going more into healing that I created my own process in the
Hmm.
process of
Yeah.
that, and I realized right like once you actually challenge it and you understand why it's there, what caused that,
Mhm.
I realized that it it couldn't be further from the truth that I was a failure, right? And
Mhm.
a big reason for me was doing bad in school, and my mom would get upset, and she would cry, and it would be report card day, and I hated report card day, and I would just feel so
Oh.
dumb. I would right, but I was meant to. It's fun, ironically, bro. I was meant to be an entrepreneur. I was meant to
Mhm.
think outside the freaking box, right? And um, it's just when I got to that, as I dug and I dug, and I'm writing down, I'm breaking down, I'm like, how am I a failure?
Mm.
Like, how? After I've done X, Y, and Z, after I've, like, would a failure do this? Would a
Mhm.
failure do, right? Challenging and understand, like, I couldn't be more wrong, or that part of me couldn't be more. But there was a gift. And if we're willing to go into that and process it, I think, again, you're going to turn what happened to you into something, or where you believe the negative stuff you believe about yourself, into something
Mhm.
positive.
Yeah.
What do you think, buddy?
Oh my God. For the most important thing for me was to regulate my nervous system, to be honest with you.
Mhm.
And it sounds technical, but this is what I needed. I mean, in the spiritual world could be like, I don't know, um, somatic alignment. I don't know. But I felt, because I couldn't stand the sounds, the sounds, the light was too intense for me. My responses were very, very stressed. I was feeling stressed all the time. So that was the number one thing that I had to do, is to calm down. Okay. And when my system calmed down, then I started working on my limiting beliefs, my emotions, and I had loads. But what I've noticed in the past, I was trying new things. I was trying new things, for example, for 3, 4 months, and then nothing will happen. And then I would stop. For example, I've started doing seminars, and I've done it a few, and then I stopped. And then there was a time when I was doing nothing. And then I started doing like videos on YouTube. I've done that a few times, a few years, and then I stopped. There was no consistency in what I was doing. And every time I was trying something, it wasn't going well, and then I would stop. So what changed was that I try new things. They don't always work, but I don't stop. Or I may stop for a few days, or maybe 2, 3 weeks, and then I will go to the next one. Whereas in the past, I will try something, it wasn't successful, and then I will feel like angry at the universe, angry at myself, angry at everything. So I was
Yeah,
blaming
I hear
everything.
you.
Everything and everyone.
Isn't that how it goes, bro? Like, yeah, I can't relate to that more.
Yeah. But now I don't pay attention. I was like, okay, I tried. It's okay. Let's move to the next one, and we'll see. And I was too harsh with myself. When everything was going well, I was feeling amazing. When things were not going well, I was like, oh my God, I'm not good. I'm a failure. I should stop. I was feeling ashamed for trying something and not being successful. And I was thinking about what other people are thinking about me. Why I don't have, like, I'm at this age and I don't have like
Mhm.
income. So I was feeling ashamed, and shame was one of my core feelings, to be honest, that I had to heal and
Yeah,
work with.
it's surreal how much, like, yeah, again, how much this, like, spiritual entrepreneur journey brings up, right? As you're going
Mhm.
deep, because you're going deeper into yourself in so many ways, and yeah, you find out those emotions are there. And also, that parent like inner critic is there waiting for you every single time something goes wrong, right? Yeah, like, I don't know, but I don't know who it was for you, Bibi, but I know my mom was like, she really implanted that voice, and it's not, again, it's just our the a voice that has been conditioned, right? And it tells us all the stuff that we felt like as a kid, and it's
Mhm.
we make it so
Exactly.
much harder, right? Like,
Yeah, I internalized my father's voice. So I was hearing my father's voice all the time. So it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy.
No.
But if we are to give you some practical advice during this time, Roy, you want to start? So, what do you advise the people who are in this journey now and they're experiencing financial uncertainty? Some practical advice.
I love that word, by the way, because I think when you're depending where you're at in your awakening, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can be very practical or very unpractical. And I know when I was like when I was in it, right? When I was in the really starting to awaken, um, I I was just like I felt so free, but I didn't really think of the aftermath of my action, so to speak. If I put this on a credit card, if I put that on a credit card, if I, right, if I did this,
Yeah.
like a lot of the financial actions that I was taking, I wasn't really caring, and it was free, but it was freeing to do that. But also, I ended up 30K in debt because of that. So that, on a practical level, guys, or somebody who's already has gone through that and thank, thankfully is no longer 30K in debt, right?
Okay.
I would say enjoy yourself, but add some practicality to it. Like if you can't afford to pay that 4K to go to that retreat, bro, save up or just wait a little bit. I understand you want the healing, you want X, Y, and Z. Do what you can, right? What can
Mhm.
you afford? What can you, if you really want to invest in yourself? Like find what you can do. And in the process, you'll still heal, you'll still learn, but you won't put yourself in such a difficult situation where, how Vivi was saying earlier, you don't have money for food, you don't have money for gas, you don't, like, all these everyday necessities are harder for you to have because again we're swiping away, put it on the
Mhm.
card, right? Like,
Yeah.
and that's the biggest thing. Like make sure you have a steady form of income, whether it's a job, whether that's some kind of side income that you get that will sustain you while you build your business, or something to fall back on, so that you
Mhm.
can build from a state of abundance, from a state of prosperity, of wealth, and not survival and lack. And I need this client, I need this sale, like, and I've been
Mhm.
there. Oh my gosh, like it's not fun. It's not fun. So the more, if you don't, the more practicality you can add into your choices while you're in this stage, you're going to thank yourself later on. How about you,
Yeah,
buddy? What do you say, Vivi?
I totally agree. And this is my experience. I mean, but I feel the need to share it with you. So I believe that all these retreats are great, okay? And some of them are extremely expensive. So, for example, if you go on a 3-day retreat and you expect a miracle, it's not going to happen.
Yes.
So the reason I'm saying that is that all these painful emotions, all this trauma comes to the surface. It's not going to go away. It's not just an energy that comes and goes. Okay. And you need to do the work. So if you don't have the money and you are desperate to go to a retreat because you believe that it's going to take you out from what you're experiencing, I don't believe it's going to work. And what I believe though is that it needs time, and most of the times it needs years, but you need to do the work every day. Okay. And I believe that if you can find someone who can help you with, or I don't know, cheap therapy or healing, something that doesn't cost much, it's going to help you a lot more than go to a retreat that, you know, that costs like $4,000 or $5,000. So this is a very practical advice, because most of the time, most of the people who are going through awakening, they have, huge trauma, huge. It's not going to go away like that. And
Yeah.
also about money, I do understand that money is energy, okay, but at the same time, you need to do some practical stuff. The biggest mistake that I did was that the universe is going to provide for me. And this is what I was believing when I was feeling scared. I don't need to, to worry that much. And to be honest with you, money came to me from unexpected places, okay, sources and all that. But w- it had the opposite effect. It made me feel like I need to depend on something external in order to create money. Okay. So when you don't have money and expect someone to save you, because this is what I was feeling all the time, I wanted to be saved. So that means that my self esteem and confidence went down. And I think what the awakening is teaching you is to build your own power and not expecting from, I don't know, external sources or powers to help you. Because this is where you discover how strong you are, how powerful you are.
Yeah, I'm really glad you said that, baby. I I can't really again. I relate to it so much, and yeah, like people they're watching right now. eh, it's so easy, especially when you just because we've been through certain experiences. We know what it feels like to be sold. We know what it feels like to be sold a dream, or like
Yeah.
it. And it really what you shared. It goes so much. It's going to that retreat is not going to fix everything. It'll help, but if you, especially if you don't have the money, like it's just going to put yourself in a deeper financial situation. And I think sometimes, bro, when we like, oh, I say it a lot, right? Like the universe will provide. The universe got me. And then I ended up 30K in debt later on, right? one one of the things that I realized after that, guys, is that I had to help myself. And sometimes we'll
Mhm.
make it external for we, and I relate to that too. Like we want somebody to save us. I know for me, my mom, we had done some work together, and I wanted my mom to save me, right? And I realized I couldn't let that happen, and I had to save myself.
Mhm.
But we create these situations also out of the fear of taking responsibility. Oh, the universe is going to handle it. I don't got to handle that, right? I don't have to go and do something like, and that's the thing. Like you do get support, right, from the universe. Not
Mhm.
completely shutting that off, but a lot of. I'll give a quick example. I invested in a 5K program at one point. It was like 2 years ago, and I'm like, "Ah, the universe will provide. I'll find a way.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'll build my business to X amount by the time I actually have to pay the because I was making payments on it. So I'm like, I'll grow my business. I'll be able to pay it off before
Mhm.
the due date of the full amount. And on the third, it was like the third month they charged everything. It was like a remainder, like 3K onto my card, and I
Mhm.
didn't have that. And I was
Mhm.
just devastated. I broke down, and I'm like, what am I gonna do? I don't have that, right? And but it forced me, or I forced myself to take more responsibility, and I had to go, and I did what I had to do. I did some Uber Eats, I did some DoorDash. I had to get I had to take this responsibility, and for me, that was my way, right?
Mhm.
But sometimes we that stuff happens because you have it's like you have to get that strength that you're talking about. Maybe you have to get that self leadership and grow and again take responsibility in whatever way that looks like for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I've done irrelevant jobs, and I believe that if you're having financial problem, just get any job, anything that it won't make you feel uncomfortable. Okay, okay. Let's
$15.
shout your name then. All right. Okay.
It's a fair. Funny.
Okay. Yeah. So don't be afraid to get a job, any job, just to help you out, not to feel like you're depending on a miracle. Okay. And e- many people depending on miracles when they don't have anything. At least when you start a business, you can expect, money to come through your business. So, and I know that this phase is about, you know, wishful thinking, I would
Oh
say.
yeah, a lot
Magical
of that.
thinking, yeah. But you need to do the work. There's no way other. So shall we close? But I would like to ask you one more question. Looking back, um, What advice would you give to someone who feels spiritually called away from their 9 to 5 job, but fears the financial uncertainty? What kind of advice are you going to give them?
I would have to say, it, I've been there, right? I've been there. I would have to say, make sure you have your necessities covered, like
Mm-hmm,
your food, your home,
mm-hmm,
right? Water, shelter, kind of thing, and make sure you're able to do that because
mm-hmm,
right, like my girlfriend, she left her 9 to 5, and she was scared, and but it ended up putting her in a tougher position than right when then where she was actually able to pay for the monthly
mm-hmm,
her monthly bills and stuff like that. This was a while back, but um, I would make sure that you have something still coming in. If you could at least support you, right? If
mm-hmm,
you need 3,000 to just pay your bills and you're able to make that off your business, I would go for it. Personally, I would
mm-hmm.
go for it. But if you're gonna be wondering where your next meal is coming from and
Yes.
how you're gonna pay rent this month and next month, I wouldn't leave the 9 to 5 just yet. Right? I would
Mm-hmm.
create a plan. I would save X amount. Just again, the practicality, the responsibility, because I get it. You want to live your purpose. You have this mission you want to do, right? You want to help. And but the thing is, you're gonna make it so much harder. You're gonna make it so much harder on yourself when you leave that if you decide to leave that 9 to 5 and you just don't have the stability for it.
I couldn't agree more. And also something that I had to deal with. It's very easy to lose the grip with reality, and you live in this world. So you need to make money. And I would say surround yourself with people. Some people may not be spiritual, but it doesn't really matter because you need to be grounded. It's very, very hard sometimes to be grounded when you are in this phase. And I believe that everything you have said, I totally agree with you. And surround yourself with people who can help you, who feel safe with, okay? Not people who criticize you and all that. And try to be, it's not going to be easy, but you can do it. If you are in this path, you will succeed at the end. There is no any other way. It's going to happen.
Because
Right.
there is what's up?
No, no, go on.
I was gonna say because there is a spiritual aspect of it, right? Of
Mhm.
business, and I think a good way to view it would be it's like when you go on a vacation or you go on a trip, you have faith. So one of my favorite speakers says,
Mm.
you have faith that the plane is gonna land, but you
Yeah.
still got to take the actions to get on the
Mm.
plane. And you have to
Yeah.
go through that duration and that time to get to the destination. So I think that's a really nice metaphor for this, bro.
Yes, yes. And this is how we're going to close. Have faith. Everything will be fine,
It
no
always
matter
is.
where you
Yeah.
are. And you can always get in touch with us. We definitely we can help you. Definitely, we can help you. And yeah, anything you need, just send us a message. We'll be very happy to help you. All
That's
right.
right. That's right.
Thank you for being here. Have a lovely evening. Bye.
Good one, guys.
Bye.